welcome back to another video. As you can see from the background, I am here again in the talking couch featuring Mr. Pea Bunny Lover and our little special guest, Baby Bunny Pillow Girl. Ooh, cut the camera off. Hi! Anyways, since we are in the talking couch, that means that today we're going to be talking about something spooky, something mysterious. And you might be asking yourself, what are we going to talk about today? Today we're going to be talking about an urban legend. Something that is very popular amongst the Latin American community and Mexican community. And if you are Mexican or Latin American, Hispanic, then you might have heard about duendes. First of all, before I get started, I want to say thank you so much. Thank you for just watching my Coraline video. That was my first little talking couch episode, I guess. It was very chaotic, and you know, as time goes on, my videos are going to be kind of chaotic. I filmed them on my phone, so the quality visually is probably not going to be the best. But you can use all of this as a little podcast. That's what I do with like stories and stuff. I like to use them as a little background noise or just like a little podcast. This is kind of like the inspiration. Like the talking couch episodes are going to be kind of like podcast inspired. They're going to also have some visual effects like little pictures and stuff along the way. But you know, you can keep doing whatever you do on a regular basis. Because I'm just gonna be sitting on the couch most of the time, and also like showing pictures every here and there, but not a lot. So anyways, thank you so much again for watching my Coraline videos and also my other videos. If you have subscribed, thank you. Thank you so much, really, it means a lot. Just, you know, if you're a friend of mine too, thank you for supporting this channel. And yeah, and if you're, you know, if you don't know me personally and you have subscribed and stuff, again, thank you so much. It's very nice to know that other people enjoy listening or like they want to see more content of mine in the future and as time goes on, and that means a lot. But anyways, let me keep on going with my topic for today, which is duendes. Anyways, so if you don't know about duendes, you may be asking yourself, what are duendes? What is that? So yeah, like I said before, it's kind of popular amongst Latin America and Mexico. I know for me, I'm Mexican, so I have grown up hearing about duendes every here and there. And honestly, everyone's gonna have kind of a different belief in them. It's just duendes kind of translates to like gnomes or elves, goblins, you know, little tiny beings that just roam around. And their purpose is very different from people. Different people are gonna have different ways that they identify or know duendes as. Also, this video is gonna I will try to keep track of where I'm going because I tend to get distracted by little subtopics and stuff like that along the way. But the way I want to kind of make this video is kind of like introduce the way I know duendes, and then with some research that I have done, I'm gonna share some of the information that I have found. Also the links for the information and articles, which are I think like maybe 2. I'm gonna link them down below if you wanna read on your own too. And then I'm going to read to you some stories on Reddit of other people that have encounters with duendes. So like I said before, it's an urban legend. It's not, a lot of people believe very firmly that they are real. Some people, they just say that, oh no, it's just all in your head. But you know, it's just kind of generational beliefs that, you know, get passed around, and as time goes on, it changes, it varies from person to person. And also it's like some people have an explanation to it, as to why they're not real, and some have an explanation to it as why they are real. So we're gonna get started. Let's go. Alright, so the way I know duendes as, like I said before, I grew up kind of listening to stories about them. The way that I guess I was raised to believe that they were is that they're kind of like childlike, and they move around things in your house. So when you are looking for something and you're like, yo, I literally remember I left it in this exact place, and it's like, how can this thing that I placed here, like right here, it's not here anymore? And a lot of people would argue or say, oh yeah, it's not there because a duende moved it, or like a little elf and a little gnome, a little goblin moved it, and he's trying to play tricks on you and trying to make you feel like you're going crazy, because it feels like that, like if you have lost something. And I feel like a lot of us have had this happen to us. It's like, I literally left this right here and it's not here, I'm going crazy, and then the little duende and stuff like that is gonna be like in a little hole just laughing at you because he's like, I'm making him think that he's going insane. So yeah, it's like, that's kind of the way I grew up thinking that they were like. Also that they kind of just run around and try to make you again feel like you're going crazy. You're seeing apparitions and stuff. Also, I grew up thinking, knowing, believing that they also braid horses' hair. So like in farms, you see like horses that they have like tangled up hair, and it's like, how can the wind braid or tie into knots a horse's hair so well, you know what I mean? And then the excuse for that would be, oh yeah, a duende did that, he's trying to play tricks on them and he's trying to mess around with the animals. That's another belief that I grew up thinking too and listening to. So where do duendes come from, or I guess the stories originate from? It's said that duendes, the stories, come from indigenous Mexico and also from Latin America, places in Latin America. So that's usually, like I said, you're gonna hear a lot of stories about duendes, but that's not where duendes are, told only in, because they also are told around just like the world. And they have different names, like for example, it's like elves and goblins, and it's just like the little beings, and like the little fairies, and it's like they like to play around with like animals and like mess with you and stuff like that. So it's just around the world there's gonna be different names for little beings that just like to mess around with people around them and animals around them. Some people believe, like I said, that duendes are like childlike. They have childlike appearance, and they're just tiny, like little elves. And some people also believe that they are green and like goblin-like, and that they just have like in like a small appearance, but their faces look like little like goblins, and they're like all wrinkly. And whether they are good or evil is kind of unknown. It's kind of told differently. Like I said, different people believe that they are either good or they are bad. Some say that they reside in forests, so there's different duendes for like different places. Like there are some duendes for at home, where they protect the home and they lure the evil spirits away from their homes. So they're kind of like house protectors. And other people believe that if they're in your home, it's actually not a good thing, and they're just gonna try to mess with you and try to like kick you out because that's their home, not yours. Other people also believe that they are forest duendes, like forest little elves, and they protect the forest and they guide children who are lost in the forest or travelers back to safety, and they just help the lost people around, and that they just protect the nature, the animals. They're cute little beings. And other people also say that if you find them in the forest, that they're actually not good, that they're actually evil. And if you're a kid and they lure you into the forest, that you're gonna be lost forever. And also, if you're like a traveler and stuff like that and you see a duende in the forest, that it's like bad luck and you're gonna get lost. It's like misfortune. So yeah, it's like it varies from person to person. There's two sides. It also may be good duendes and bad duendes, so it just depends on who you encounter at that moment. It's like 50-50 chance. You're gonna get lost or you're gonna find a way back home. So you never know. Anyways. Also, some people say that duendes, if they like to mess around a lot with little kids. I don't know why, but there's a lot of stories of them messing with little kids. And particularly, I saw this one popping up a lot of them trying to bite kids' toes. It's not funny. But yeah, I think they probably like toes a lot, because in a lot of articles I kept seeing that they really enjoy doing that. So like pulling little toes and just like biting them and all, that's kind of the one that kept popping up the most, and they just like to mess around with them. I don't know, they maybe don't like kids, who knows why, but that's the one that I kept seeing a lot. Researchers also found out that the stories about duendes, like I said before, also trace back to like the Iberian Peninsula. And like I said before, that they have different names. I forgot to mention also like leprechauns, you know, the little green ones. They also, that's another name for them, like goblins, gnomes, leprechauns, elves, duendes. And also, there's another name for them, which are the chaneques, which is mostly heard about. Personally, I've never heard of that word, but it's very common to hear about it in the south of Mexico, which I was also very surprised. There's a lot of different names for them, which is really cool. In the south of Mexico, it is said that the chaneques, they like to throw rocks, push and pull people. So when you're like going about and it's just like you just feel someone push you and then you look around and there's no one there, it's probably a chaneque. And that they also like to mess around with a lot of house pets. So if your dog is just like barking at a corner and stuff like that, who knows, it might be also a chaneque that's just messing with him and playing around tricks on them. And it's also believed that they can be living like inside the walls, like little holes and stuff like that. They're just out there waiting for you to leave, and then they can play pranks on you or your pet. It's also believed that if you are to make a chaneque upset, mad, that they will get back at you by, you know, spiritually like draining your energy, and they're gonna make you like fall ill. And the way you can get all that back, because it's like your spiritual energy, so it's just like a little bit harder than to like, oh, I'm gonna drink some orange juice to boost up my vitamin C and immunity. It's like, you know, you have to make an offer to them so they can forgive you. And the offerings are mostly consisted of fruits and little treats like candy, but it's also said to not offer them too many expensive things, because then they're gonna start asking for more. So some people say that they're also kind of greedy, so it varies. The word chaneques also comes from the language of Nahuatl. I hope I'm saying that right. The chaneques also comes from the language of Nahuatl, which is a very old language back in Mexico. I think it's connected to the Aztecs. I may be wrong, but that's kind of what I believe, or I read that it comes from. So that kind of also tells you how long of a history chaneques and duendes have been passed around in time. So it also, like, you know, if they believed in it, it's like, you know, kind of gives you again the visual like of how long the stories have been going through generation to generation. So that's very cool, if I might add. I love things like that, you know. Getting on to that, just like a little side comment, I just think that, you know, that connection to the Nahuatl and just like the time that has happened and stuff, it's just very cool how even if it's not real, which I'm not saying it's not real because I don't want to make anyone mad, there's a little duende out and about in my house. I'm not saying you're not real, but you know, I just think that it's very, very cool to know that just time has passed, like so much time has passed, and generation through generation we are told just like stories that would be comforting our ancestors, and that's just very, wow, that's very cool. I also find it very cool how like I said before, everyone has, you know, different names for these particular beings, but it's kind of similar the way we kind of believe in them. So it might just be colonization, or just the fact that we're all connected in a way. That's kind of the same thing. Cut the cameras. Overall, just moral of the story about the duendes is to just be kind to them. Don't mess with them. Don't make them mad. Don't say that they're not real, because if they are real, they're gonna get mad that you're saying that they're not real, and they're gonna get back at you. So, respect the duendes in the walls. Give them candy, give them fruit. Ooh, I just bit, I'm so sorry. But yeah, it's just basically, from what I read, moral of the story is to be kind to them. Don't offend them. If something gets lost, you probably know why now. So let's get going with the stories of other people to prove that they are real. I'm sorry. That's basically what I said. Oh my gosh. What is going on with me? Now we are going to be going into Reddit and reading some stories that some people have to tell of their own encounters or family encounters, or just family stories that have been passed on about encounters with duendes. So let's get going. Get my little iPad ready. So this one is from Redditor Split09. So it says, duendes are hella scary though. My dad is from Puebla and mentioned that sometimes he would see little people running in the dark while trying to get home from work. He'd tell himself that they were probably rats, dogs, or cats. He always tries to be logical, but he would admit to seeing them move like people, down from the legs to their little arms. They run super fast, he said. Something's up with certain spaces in Mexico. They get a little spooky, and to be honest, it scares me. Don't even get me started on nehuales. So, what are nehuales? Actually, I have never heard of them. Now that you say that. Let's look it up. It says right here that it's nahual or nahual. So spelled it nahual with an H, and it says right here that it's nahual with a G. So it's a Mesoamerican folk religion. So it's a human being who has the power to shapeshift into an animal. And it's believed that it can access power and spiritual insights by connecting with a tonal animal within. So it's kind of like, it says right here, like a god from Mesoamerica. It's very interesting. I've never heard of that, and I am probably going to do more research about it because I feel like I don't know enough to tell you guys about it. But that's really cool. Very fascinating. Side comment about that too, it's just a lot of things, like I said, like I'm Mexican, so there's a lot of things that I still have to learn more about within my own culture, and just like the beliefs from back then, like our ancestors. And it's just very fascinating. Like I said, in school we learned about like ancient Egyptians and Greece and stuff, but we never really like went very much in depth with, you know, the Mexican culture, like the Aztecs and the Mayans. We did like an overview, but not as deep as the other ones, like Egypt and Greece. But I think I will that's a task for me to do now, and I love that. I love learning about that. It's our history. It's us, who we are as a person. Anyways, let's get going. So this one is by Redditor called Arekushisurr, and it says, my grandma told me about the story about the Chaneques. Her mom, my great-grandmother, and her brother used to go to the river to do laundry. She used to leave the boy on a hammock while she was busy one day. The boy began to walk into a sugarcane plantations where next to the river. When his mom realized and dragged him out, he said some kids were offering him papaya. He told him that they were alone there and that there was no one else nearby. She put him on the hammock and continued doing laundry, but the boy kept going into the cane plantation. This situation repeated many times, but the last time she realized the boy wasn't there. She ran into the plantation and found him. She scolded him, and he was swearing again. And some kids were offering him papaya. When she looked up, she could see that the canes moving, like if 3 people were running between them. She got scared and left suddenly. Days after talking with the other people, they told her that those kids could have been Chaneques. They were trying to steal her kid, so she never brought him back into the river. Some days, when she was there alone, someone would throw pebbles at her while she was distracted. Ooh, that one's interesting. Wow. That's also very terrifying. If you're alone and they were trying to steal your kid and it was a Chaneque. This one is by Redditor Eververde. So this one says, my grandma used to tell me that one of her little brothers was kidnapped by duendes. She says she never saw them, but her brother often spoke of them, and how naked little kids were always calling and waving at him, asking to join them. Eventually, some other adult got involved and told my grandmother's grandma to make the boy poop in the middle of the front yard, which is where he allegedly always saw them. Apparently, duendes love cleanliness and are easily disgusted, and it worked because he never saw them again. I'm from Panama, by the way, and my grandmother used to live in Darien, where her family has a big finca. This would have happened in the late 30s. Anyways, when I was in elementary school, my school was in the middle of this, I don't know how to say it, but it was a decent neighborhood, except behind it there was a stream and a fair amount of flora and fauna, a small wood, if you will. I swear I saw them playing near the stream naked. I never saw them call to me, but I do remember my friends saw them too, because I remember we would all avoid going to the area where you could see through the gate where the stream was. And I got goosebumps typing this all out. Hadn't thought about this in ages. I am 32 now. LOL. Wow. That's scary. Wow. And my brother and I lived near a forest too, so it's just like, while reading some of the Reddit comments too, I saw that this person who said he is from the Philippines, they know them also as duendes, but instead of a U, it's a W, DWENDES. I think that's how it's spelled. And how they kind of have the same stories also, like, and also the same beliefs, which, like, I have heard that people say that Filipinos and Mexicans are kind of like distant cousins. I think we all know why. But, do you know why? Because they got colonized by Spain. So they kind of have like similar-ish dishes and words and the language, and just also like stories, like urban legends too. And I think that's also very cool. But it's not cool what happened to our ancestors. But I won't get started on that because there might be a fight. Anyways, but yeah, overall, the story, do you believe in them or do you not? Don't answer it out loud because they might hear you and they will get upset. But anyways, that is it for this topic. I feel like the stories are never ending. The beliefs are never ending. Some of the things that I covered in here of the beliefs are probably different, and again, like I said, it varies from person to person and who you ask. If you are Latin American or Mexican, you can go ahead and ask your family, or you also may have a story about duendes, and if you do, please share it, because please share it down below in the comments, or don't if you don't want to, but if you do have a story about them, let us know, because I find it very interesting. Personally, I don't think I have ever encountered any. I don't know about my family, but I do remember back in Mexico when I used to live there, my aunts and stuff, they would talk about them, and then they would say, oh, there was a sighting in Primer Impacto, which is a news outlet. They would start talking and showing video proofs and stuff like that. Duende caught on camera. And it was just like me when I was little. I was like so scared. Don't even get me started with that show, because literally that show traumatized me from Hello Kitty. They said that she was like demonic and stuff like that, so I was like scared of Hello Kitty for like the longest. Yeah, I know. No, actually though, there is a case about it, like the Hello Kitty case.
Oh yeah,
that's actually a real life story.
I know.
A real life
on TikTok.
Yeah, it's a crime case about Hello Kitty. The Hello Kitty crime case, it's very terrifying. It's very...
That's why they have TikTok.
Yeah, there's very crazy people out there. Stay safe, y'all. Please, don't trust strangers. And keep one eye open when you're sleeping, because you never know. Also, the saying that spiders crawl into your mouth and stuff like that when you're sleeping, and if you wake up with a sore throat, that it's because a spider crawled inside of you. That's terrifying. That's so scary. I don't know if that's actually real or if it's just a saying. But anyways, let's not get distracted now. Thank you again for, if you stayed this long until the end of the video, thank you for watching, and thank you for listening to this story, or this legend of the second episode of Couch Stories with Mr. P Bunny Lover and our little guest, the bunny girl. So yeah, thank you, and I'll see you guys next time on another couch story. So yeah, if you are interested. Also, I will be uploading a little bit more vlogs and also gaming in the future, so stay tuned for that. Or if you just want to stay in tuned for couch stories, then that's perfectly fine too. Thank you so much for watching again. Is it for today's episode on Leyendas. Are they real or are they not? Reflect on it. That's your homework for